stuff that I have. But the one thing I will say is, for example, with the baseball T-shirts, is maybe make a quilt, make it kind of productive hoarding. I think that's kind of something that our generation needs to learn, and maybe will kind of reduce the waste of our society. So productive hoarding, I'll go with that. I guess if you're hoarding Steak and Shake cups, you can kind of turn them into your plateware for your kitchen. Instead of going out and buying expensive ceramics and paper plates, just keep using that Steak and Shake milkshake cup. Just make sure you wash it, because it might get a bit nasty over time, especially if it has things like milk in it. Dairy products can get pretty smelly over time. So productive hoarding, try it out.
In the yellow shirt. What's your name?
Nasir.
Nasir?
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Nasir.
Go ahead and choose any one of these. My boyfriend, Erwin, gave me a parakeet whom I taught to say Erwin. Well, Erwin and I broke up, and now I'm dating a guy named Ronnie. When Ronnie comes over, the parakeet keeps on saying Erwin, Erwin. And of course, Ronnie doesn't like it. What do I do?
The first boyfriend is Eric, second is Ronnie?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, obviously, Ronnie, you have to deal with it. Erwin is actually not my first boyfriend's name. Everybody watches Sweet Life of Zack and Cody? Yeah. So I watched that a lot, and the parakeet just keeps repeating his name, Erwin. That's like the mechanic guy in the show. So he keeps repeating it, and I can't stop watching Sweet Life of Zack and Cody because I'm addicted. So Ronnie, I'm about to tell you, I can't. You got to deal with it, because if I stop watching Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, I'm gonna have to break up with you. And if I keep watching it, I'm gonna have to break up with you. So it turns out that I'm gonna have to break up with you. Because Sweet Life of Zack and Cody is my life, and my parakeet is more than Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, so that's my life times 2. And goodbye, Ronnie.
You want to go?
I don't know, let's do one more.
Okay. Does anybody really, really want to go?
I have a roll.
I do too.
Onur, can you go?
Oh, I can go. Do you want to go?
No. Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
I'll let you walk.
Any one of those. My neighbor keeps coming into my yard and cutting roses from my rose bush. Is there a polite way to get him to stop?
It's an interesting dilemma. Well, first of all, congratulations. You've got a rose bush that is renowned throughout the neighborhood, so everybody wants it. This is a really good opportunity for you to make a quick buck. I mean, if everyone wants your roses, then you can trim all your roses up, sell them, I don't know, Friday. Friday seems like a good time. Go out for a nice dinner with your girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever that may be. And then just $1 or $2 a rose, sell out to the neighborhood, get the word out. If it gets big enough, hey, you could have a little side hobby that earns you some money. There you go. If you don't feel like going through all that extra effort, you just walk up and say, hey, I noticed you're taking my roses. I really appreciate having them there so I can enjoy them every day. Could you stop? I mean, simple as that. What are they going to say? No. I'm moving. Bye. Yeah.
And that concludes our table topic.
So, on the bottom of your slips, there's going to be a section that says Best Table Topic Speaker. Now, the names are right there, and the themes, honestly, I feel sorry for you guys, because most of these are hilarious, and I can't decide which one's my favorite. So, you're going to have to struggle with that. Oh, and Adana, thanks for the advice. I'll be wearing my Kim Possible shirt next time. It's not anime, but you know. Alright, well, while you guys are passing that into the center, I'm going to welcome the leader of the next section of the meeting, which honestly is my favorite section. A lot of people hate me for that opinion. But it's going to be the evaluations. Basically the haters of the meeting. First time I've ever said that because Tyler keeps on brainwashing me with that. So, on to the evaluation section. Please welcome Onur to the stage.
Alright guys, we're on to what I think is the most informative part of the section. It's definitely, I feel like, the most helpful because here we have evaluators that get paired up with our speakers and they provide what they did well, what they could improve on, really good feedback to help them grow and become a better speaker. So first up we have Nasir, who will be evaluating Jessica Parks on her speech.
Jessica Parks. So her speech was from the Advanced Communication series, The Entertaining Speaker. It was her, oh, it's right here. It was her second speech, 5 to 7 minutes. She was in time. It was called The Tales of Tormented TA. And from the title, you could get the theme of the speech, which was the problems that TA has, such as having a 30-page paper and like having to submit 2 students to the cheating department. Sure. That's called. So from the evaluation guide, it says, how do you know the audience was intrigued? How do you know the audience was entertained? How I know it was because they were intrigued. Everybody was like paying attention, like, cause it wasn't a funny speech. It was like a mysterious speech because Edgar Allan Poe, I guess. Yeah, so it was a mysterious speech. So like everybody was like listening in, keen eyes, like that. And then the third question was, did the speaker appear comfortable and give the speech in her personality? Which I said yes, and no, and yes. Yes, that the speaker was comfortable, but no, it wasn't her personality because this was a new Jessica that I know. It was basically like Parks. Because it was a different, because like usually she's like bubbly, like say SpongeBob. That's like but this time she was like mysterious, like whoo, like ghostly. And then what parts of the speech? Fourth question was which parts of the speech were most effective, and which, if any, did not work well. I would say the parts that didn't work well was the first knock. I couldn't hear it. I saw you did it, but I couldn't hear the first knock. After those, I heard all those knocks. And then also, I was confused when you said Emily Parsons, and then you stated the 2 names. But I think you said that they were the same name, the same person after. If you said like your TA name is Emily Parsons and said she has another student in her class named Emily Chris Parsons, it would have like let me know that she's not talking about herself, and she's not crazy. Then, fifth question last, how did the speaker's body language and vocal variety add impact to the talk? And Jessica, very personable, I guess, I don't know the word, but she showed relief by like, she like laid down, she did all that extra stuff. She sat back. When she was frustrated, she was like this, and she like put her hands on her face and like rolled down. So overall, it was a great speech. Things to work on is knock harder and fix your word placement of things so it's not confusing to like everybody else because you already know the speech. Thank you.
Some great work, great evaluation, and yeah, I think the extra stuff makes it in your speech. Up next, we've got, oh, by the way, these are 2 to 3 minute evaluations, so that's the time reference, forgot to mention that. So up next, we have Sarena, who will be evaluating Tyler's speech.
Alright, so we're going to talk about Tyler's speech. He's actually not in the comms communicator. He finished that a long time ago. He's in the technical presentation. So it's kind of cool that he had an assignment in school that he's going to use towards Toastmasters that also aligns with his book. So that's pretty neat. So the first thing I want to tell you guys are like the points that he had to hit. So this project, presenting a technical paper, was a little bit different. He didn't read a paper, obviously, he went to a presentation. But what he needed to do was make sure that everything was relatable to us and that he took something technical and turned it into something relevant and like humanized it, as this description says, in order for us to better understand it. And so the first question here was, did the reader discuss only the highlights of the paper? And yes, I believe he took all the relevant information that we needed to hear, not all the jargon and not all the technical skills that we didn't really necessarily need to know, and he took all that information that he thought that we needed to know and he put that into his presentation and his speech. In addition, the presentation was great for our skill level and what we knew. So Tyler might be on like a different technical level than all of us. He probably knows more about Google. He's an MIS major. I'm not an MIS major. I'm sure most of you guys are Terry majors. So he did a great job using simple sentences at the beginning, using simple language. I noticed that he used like a simple sentence after a simple sentence after a simple sentence, which is great to break down for us. And there's this thing called ethos, logos, pathos that you guys probably know about. And ethos is appealing to your morals and our sense of ethical sense. So he did a good job of that because there's always a controversy of, talking about robots versus humans. And he also addressed that in his speech, which is great. And he was transparent about the way that he asked his professor, should the robot introduce themselves as a robot? And he said that the teacher didn't need to, but that Google was going to be transparent about it and use that. So that was a great point. He made the presentation interesting because at the very beginning, I think it was like the second or third slide in, he used a video. He used 2 examples, and so that was a great way to catch our attention and grab it. He also explained the practical applications of it and how you can only use it on Android for now. And he also did prepare diligently for his speech because you can tell he used slides practically every 30 seconds or less. And so you didn't have to do that, but I thought that was very relevant. With his aids, I thought they were pretty cool because he used a theme. So Google has like a symbol theme, has like blue, red, yellow, or something like that, and white. So he emphasized that in his slides as opposed to creating his own personality for the slides. Let's see. And one thing that other people might not agree with, but is that Tyler you guys might think that Tyler should have moved around more, but I thought it was actually great that he just stood in one area because it would have been distracting if he pointed at the slideshow and also just stood in one place. And he did one suggestion is that you should minimize the amount of time that you spend looking at the PowerPoint. And that's all. Thank you.
Some great work, Sarena. Up next, we've got Kyle, who will be evaluating third speech.
So I had the task of evaluating Victor, who was giving his icebreaker speech, which is supposed to kind of provide a window into his personality and his thoughts and perspective on life. And I thought he did a great job of showing that. I mean, he said one of his great rules in life or goals in life is to help others. And I thought right off the bat he helped us, view what he's all about. And so he starts with a great hook, no, 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 something that we've heard from a very early age. Our parents are always telling us no. And it's something that all of us can easily relate to and identify with, and it's something that we can visualize as well. And I thought it was clear and concise, and he articulated that point well. And then from there, he went on to structure the speech extremely well, and even define how he was going to structure it so that we could see that going forward, each and every point that he was giving. His first point was defining what you want. Did you throw in a Katy Perry reference? Is that, yeah. That was awesome. You know, I think all of us here have grown up with Katy Perry, and you know, to hear that line, it's something that you know will stick with us. You know, when I hear that line from now on, I will think of your speech. On top of that, you went to be hungry for it. For many of us right now, we are hungry, and so that's something that another thing that we can identify with. And I thought that was a great use of imagery and sensory, I guess, language to show that, you know, to get your point across. You know, if you want something in life, you do have to be hungry for it, and you want to constantly be consuming your goals and achievements. And you know, if I can eat like, or if I can achieve goals like I can eat, then I'll be very successful in life. So thank you for that metaphor. Never ever give up. You really painted the picture well again there. You talked about the weeds, the branches, the vines. It's something that I think we all get bogged down with at times. You know, it's tests, or it's assignments, or it's you know, different club meetings, whether it's Toastmasters, whether it's the environmental club, whatever it may be. You gave the clear image of keep pushing forward, and then you backed it up with your biking story and showed us an example of you doing it and actually living what you're preaching. You also added some well-timed humor. The one thing I will caution you with on the humor was it was extremely funny, and the audience was all laughing, and you laughed at yourself, which is completely fine. You know, you want to think you're funny, because if you don't think you're funny, then who's going to think you're funny? But at the same time, compose yourself after the laughter has kind of subsided, and get back to your point, because you kind of carried your laughter over into the rest of your speech. But otherwise, you seemed incredibly experienced, confident, and poised was a word that I think can really sum up your speech, and it was very purposeful, so thank you.
Alright, and time, were all the evaluations in time? Awesome. So you guys can go ahead and write your, choose who you think the best evaluator was. And while you're doing that, I'll wait 30 seconds for you guys to go down. Starting off, one of my other roles is I'm going to be evaluating the meeting as a whole and also evaluating the evaluators on their evaluations. So starting off, we have Nasir. Great job. That's a good evaluation. You highlighted what Jessica did really well, and she's a very great speaker, so there's not a lot of flaws. So it's a good thing you caught certain things like the knock. Sitting in the back, you can hear those things and really let her know how she could improve her speech and her presentation. And up next, Sarena. Great work, good feedback. And I really liked how you pointed out some people can think Tyler can move around more throughout his speech, but with the presentation, you're absolutely right. You don't want to take too much away from the material. You don't want the material to be overpowering, but at the same time, you also don't want it to be just something in the background. You want this kind of harmony with it. So great work with that. And finally, Kyle. Great work with giving great feedback on Victor's speech. And Victor, wow, that was an amazing first speech. And I love this image you painted as you were taking me through your speech. It was getting clearer and clearer. And at the end of it, I had a painting that I could hang up on my wall and remember your speech. So great work with that. Amazing. And overall for the meeting, one thing that's very distracting is when you're up here giving a speech and you hear a loud noise or something. So just a reminder, try and silence all your cell phones if you can. And if you ever are outside and you want to enter the meeting, it's a good idea to wait for applause, because that usually signifies someone has finished speaking and you can enter discreetly and filter around to an open seat. that, I will hand it back to Zack, our Toastmaster.
Did we vote for the best evaluator?
Yes.
So, with that, I'm extremely happy with how this meeting went. The table topics were amazing, like I said before. Honestly, I laughed at every single one. Yeah, every single one. And it was like, is anyone disappointed here? No. And all three speeches were a different type of. All three speeches were, I guess, a different kind of amazing. A different kind. Sorry, I had to put that in. I really liked Tyler's speech. Really detailed. I really liked Victor's speech. Because not only is it a great first speech, it's a great speech overall. Like, and all right, so it was a good speech. With that, oh yeah, just turn it over. Okay. With that, I want to welcome the president to the stage. Please welcome Tate.
Thank you, Zack. All right. Also, another round of applause for Zack. There was a lot of last-minute changes, so managed pretty well. Also, there we go. Also, there is a grammarian report to. All right. So let's have a grammarian report from Vivyen.
Okay. So. Overall, all three speeches, the grammar was pretty on point. It was all amazing. What I could hear for the first speaker, the only thing I heard was there was a couple fragments in sentences, but you were also telling a story, so that makes perfect sense. So, and for Tyler, again, great grammar throughout. There was a couple places where you had a run-on where it was and, but that was just like once or something. Like overall, it was great. And for Victor, the third speaker, I just heard one use. You said haven rather than, like, you might want to say paved when describing something, just for future reference. And then overall for the table topic speakers, I didn't hear any major things. Just making sure that you don't use run-on sentences and keep continuing and using fragments or things like that. So that's all.
Do we have an off counter for this one?
I don't think so.
Okay, it's okay. We'll go straight into announcements. Meanwhile, okay. So for announcements, of course, we have our GoPro recording all the meetings. So if you have a YouTube account, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have 27 subscribers last time I checked, which is world record. If we can get to 1K, we can get to monetization here. Oh my gosh, I'd be mad. But that's the goal. And then for Instagram, if you haven't followed us already, it'll also be UJ Toastmasters. Everything is UJ Toastmasters, from Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Just look up UJ Toastmasters and you'll find us. And if you want to become a member, it is now October 1st, so it is now the next 6-month fiscal cycle for Toastmasters. I don't know why they start in October, but it is now the new period. So if you were a member from last semester, then now is the time to renew dues. And also, if you're a new member, it'd be an optimal time to renew now, because you'd be in the new season. It's like Fortnite, but this is day one, new season. And since Bonaday's not here today, in VPM, you can come to me and I can help you get signed up for a membership or answer any questions you have. Additionally, Zack has taken up the main lead as the project leader for the North Oconee High School project, where we're going to work with them on their mock legislative conference. So if you're free on Tuesday or Thursday sometime in October, let them know and he can help work with you to help the students on their public speaking skills. All right. Meanwhile, I'll pull this up for rolls. Okay, also, that anime one was... There's this movie that released in 2013 called Her. Has anyone heard of that movie? It has like a lot of famous people in it, like Scarlett Johansson and Chris Pratt. Like, it's kind of like a low-key movie. But basically, what it is about like dude who falls in love with an AI. So it takes place in the future. So, you know, if Google Duplex becomes... the anime thing might be real. Okay. It is real. Okay. So, here are the roles for next Monday, October 8th. If you were here last meeting and you remember we had 6 people signed up for speakers, a lot of them dropped over the weekend. So we want to emphasize, if you do sign up for like a big role like speaker or Toastmaster Day or Table Topics Master, please try to let us know by Thursday, because usually if you let us know over the weekend, then it's too late for a backup speaker to prepare ahead of time, or, yeah. So it's just a little too last minute for us to be ready for it. That's why some of our speeches had to be extended too. But anyways, if anyone is down to be an evaluator for next meeting, does anyone want to be okay, Victor? Sweet. And then, anyone else would like to be an evaluator? I'll sign up. Okay. You see? Another one? Okay. You are already one this week. I'll put you as backup just in case. But, okay. We typically don't like having people do the same roles every single week, because then it just gets kind of boring. So we try to make sure everyone gets a different role every single week. Yeah. All right. What's your last name?
Oh, there's no O, so it's